Well, if you like Wardy's Waffle, you're in for a treat. If you don't, I'm afraid you just have to skip on by, because I've put an extra one in this week. I've got so much content that I just need to keep the videos shorter, and so it makes sense to put one in on a Friday night, but there will still be one on Sunday. Anyway, this week's, or this Friday, extra update. If you remember when I was at the cereals event, I was at the Larrington trailer stand and they showed me their hydraulic easy sheet, which is really good. Well, they've also got a manual sheet that is a lot better than using a big pole, such as a certain manufacturer that we have in the Allegiance too. And so I'm going to have to be showing this video at Sleaford, and hope they see it. So we're going to take a few minutes look at that. And also I'm looking around the spring crops and the spring barley, the spring oats, and the spring beans, taking a quick look at those because they're looking really good at the minute after the rain we've had. Also, we are cutting the stewardship areas. We're getting those ready to replant, so we've got a mower in on the back of this tractor. Actually, we're cutting those. But just to highlight what's going on here with our Puma, our 225 Puma, the exhaust has fallen off, and you can see it's rotted away here, so we need to do something with that. I don't know whether we can repair it or whether we can have to get another one, because that won't be cheap. Anyway, that's enough from me for this intro. Let's crack on, and thanks very much for watching, and if you make it to the end, we'll see you then. Right, you can see how good it is. Cost, please.
Cost, please.
Yep.
Hydraulic rollover sheet, £3,600.
That's everything, the sheet, the motor, the lot.
The motor, done 2 motors down the front. It's completely our design. We're completely in control of it, which is really important.
Yeah, that's good here that you got it on this, on here, so it rolls up on there.
Yeah, and it's a standard webbing strap. So
this is a
6-ton braking strap, so you're never going to hurt that.
And then the manual one.
And then the manual one's on there. That's £1,900. You've got a strap over there. If you watch that, we just go where we've got it over on the side. So we've got the locking on that side, this one. Let me get the handle out. And this is really quickly done. If I throw my glasses on the floor. You've got a locking system there.
Yeah.
And we're just going to take that off. And we want to roll the sheet over.
Ah, that unlocks that side.
Yeah. And you can do it from the ground. You do it safely.
Yeah.
You don't have a chuffing long great big bar that you're waggling in the air. Look at that.
Who has those bars that are wangling in the air?
Every other trailer manufacturer but us. Okay?
That's good, yeah.
That's straight over. Pop round this side.
Mr. Bailey, I hope you're watching this, or you will be when I send it to you.
Oh, I'm going to roll it back round again. Dead easy. One hand.
One hand, look at that.
Back over. That's it.
Job done. Thank you, fantastic. I've just come to a block of land that we contract farm for someone. It's only wheat once every 4 years because they have the rest of the farm in with Haley's for the local company, and it's rented. So they this is what the landlord wants them to do, and put wheat in the middle of the grass rotation, which is a bit odd because I thought grass was always good for the soil. Anyway, this crop, I'm really pleased with this because we've struggled sometimes to establish wheat after grass. It's not normally that easy to do it, and the crop can be a bit difficult. That's the village of Fullbeck in the distance. Some of you go to the pub or know the Hare and Hounds pub, which is well known, and one of my one of my locals and Rhonda's. It's not that far away from us, probably only 5 minutes away. And yeah, for this wheat, when you look, there's some good ears on this, so I'm quite pleased with what this, oh, let's get it in focus, quite pleased with how this looks. Some really good ears you can see there. And when you look at the disease as well, plenty of green leaf area left still, which is good. Little bit of tainted stuff on the end of the tips, but sometimes that's heat stress rather than disease. This field is an absolute pain to spray or actually do anything with, because it's got 3 telegraph poles there. I think there's 3 in it, and then it's got 2 trees, or 3 areas with trees in, one here, one there, and one just in the distance you can see. And I detest trees in the middle of a field. You can see the areas that are sprayed with Roundup because the blackgrass was too much there to pull. You can see it's now gone right off across this field. Not a big area. It's only about 30 acres of field, and there's only 1.7 acres sprayed off. And there are the blackgrass pullers in the distance. They've actually brought more this last couple of days because of the block of land just across the road from here. You can see there's some more areas there that we've sprayed off, and you You can just see the welfare trailer through there and the cars, because there was quite a lot there, and when you've only got 4 or 5, it's a bit demoralising, so I said they could bring some more. Yeah, just explaining about the blackgrass pullers and what else we've got to do. The winter wheats, we should be through, as I've just said, by the end of the week, which would be great. But the rest of the farm, which is over half of it, we've got still to do. Sugar beet, spring barley, spring oats, and the beans as well. Now, whether they'll have any in those, because they were planted so late and they were sprayed with glyphosate very near to drilling, there is a bit of an unknown. They might not have much in them, which would be great if they don't. It means it will be cheaper to grow them, because they're not going to yield very well anyway because they've been late planted. But if we can't, if there isn't any blackgrass, I don't need to pull them. That'll be really good. So I'll go across there and have a word with them and just see what they're doing. But they are doing an absolutely fantastic job. This field's one of the fields that we planted wheat in that weekend, November the 11th to 12th. This is why the outsides are quite gappy and thin. And I don't really know why down the field side it should be like that down here. But it is really difficult soil here. Just want to show you this blackgrass. It's an ideal shot here to show you how virulent and how bad it gets. That was 1 seed shed last year. Now look at the number of strands and the number of ears of blackgrass on there. If I can count them. Nala, no, come out. Good girl. 1, 2, 19, 20, 21, 22. So I'll pull that now. There we go. Pull it from the bottom so you get them all. Look at that. 22 ears of blackgrass on there from 1 seed. Those aren't big ears, so they'll have probably maybe 300 seeds in each of those. So 22, it's 6,600, which is staggering to think you get that from 1 seed. So yeah, this needs to come off the field along with all the rest. This is why we actually take them off the field. We don't just pull them and drop them. We remove them and then collect them up at the end of the day as well. I've just come in one of these fields that they have done only last 2 or 3 days, where the welfare trailer is behind me. And I've just pulled a few in about 100 yards, different locations here. They're meant to finish this field, but it's this sort of thing that really, when it gets worse, it's because these few have been left. Remember, you need to pull 98%, or actually have 98% removed or killed in the field to actually have the blackgrass population stand still next year, because of the vast number of seeds on the ear that you just seen me a minute or 2 ago. They have been doing a really, really good job in difficult working conditions. When it's as hot as it has been, it's been 30 degrees most of this last week. I know how difficult this job is because I've done it myself for years with when we used to pull wild oats, so it is really difficult. So I've come back in the field where the pullers are working. Just in one of these areas here, you can see that we've sprayed off. Nala's gone to say hello to them and join in. I wouldn't say she's a help. She might be a hindrance if she's taking the blackgrass out of the hands that she's pulled. Well, little Frankie's here with me, but she just see her there. She's so short that you can't see her head over the top of the wheat. Go on, Frankie, here, this way, come on. Here we go, there we go, that's better. Now you can see where you're going. You can just see there's quite a lot just there in front of that guy. You see them sticking up, well, I can from here. Wild oats there, they're easy to see there. It's the blackgrass that takes some spotting. Quite a lot just in front here as well. We've just emptied 2 bags here out the field on the edge of the track. This is what we do as well. Don't tip them in the field. Sometimes some gangs have done that, but it's no good because you just drop the seed in the field, so you need to take them off. I'm just going back now to get some other bags, because that guy there has got a really small bag and it's just can't get enough in. You end up spilling them down the field and the seeds dropping out. So I was just going to go and get some more big bags from a local guy who does haylage. I'm just in the area of land where the excavator was working a couple of weeks ago, repairing these banks. You can just see there what a job is done all the way down there, and he's parked up at the corner. I think he's finished now, just waiting for the lorry to come and take it away. Then this area here where the dogs are, this area is a stewardship area on one of our contract farms, and it's all been sprayed off. You can see it just needs chopping up. We're going to lightly work it with the express, and then plant some the stewardship seed in here, so it's a winter bird food plot. Just looking across here, this little area, just pick it out, that area there, you can just see a spot of yellow, was where I sprayed a knapsack, sprayed Roundup with a knapsack on an area of blackgrass, if you remember, probably a month ago, and it's looking good now. Pleased with this crop, looks really well this week. When you look across the top of that, looking really well. This is a variety called Gleam. First time we've grown it here, even though it is an older variety. But pleased with this field. It was spring beans last year, and looking rather nice through there. Just in front of those trees there's a field of oats. We'll go around and have a look at there in a minute. Thank you for the comments about our variety trials. They do look really good. We get some useful information from them. Quite a few have asked if the results are going to be published. That they will. They are. Some of them are Agri's results, but I will get them. I will be able to get them from Agri, and unless there's any sensitive ones, I will post them, because I think it's going to be really interesting this year, because you've seen there's huge differences between the treated and untreated. And in the nitrogen trials that we've got, I will be posting those results more or less straight away as soon as we've harvested them. But we are going to have some tests done on grain nitrogen and proteins and bushel weights on those, which obviously that will take a week or two to get back. But the actual yield of the nitrogen treatments I will give out as we're harvesting. We might even do a live video when we're doing it, so you can see. Ruben's just come with the fast track just to move the welfare trailer. We need to move it up another block of land now, where the blackgrass pullers are going to go. They're coming to service the toilet and get that emptied, I think, a couple of days. So we're not going to move it to the block of land we thought we were going to do, because we've just spotted the leggings and bags and boots and things in there. So we're going to just move it to the end of the road here, because I haven't finished this field yet. And then we'll have to move it further up to the other side of those trees, towards Fullbeck village, about 1.5 miles up there. We'll have to move it up there sometime in the morning. I haven't given you an update on our direct drilled field, which is this one here. It's been in cover crops and direct drilling for 8 years, and comparing it to the one next door just through there, which is in our standard system, which is a solo cultivated in the autumn and then planted with a spring crop with our free flow drill. So we'll just have a look at that, because I think there's some interesting differences. The most visual difference to me driving past is that there are some oats, wild oats actually, springing up inside in the naked oats, and you can just see them there sticking up above the crop, whereas next door, we'll go in there in a minute, on our normal field there isn't any. But these oats are naked oats. They call them naked because there's no husk on the outside, and they're predominantly used for animal food, pet food. And the other thing about these that I've noticed is they are quite thin, or they're a lot thinner than our comparison field in our normal system. So I've just come off the tram line, and then I'll just turn the phone down and just see. So that is the crop looking right above and into it. You can see the plant density, and we'll go in the other field now and do the same, and you'll just see what it's like and compare it to that one. So for new viewers to this to the channel, what this field is about 8 or 9 years ago I decided, because everybody was talking about cover crops and direct drilling, which means you plant a crop without any prior cultivation, you go straight into the stubble or into a cover crop. I decided let's have a field into trials. So this field's 22 acres, and so it's been in these trials 8 years, and we've had various failings and successes over the years. But at the moment, as of up to last harvest, as an average, this field has been £183 a hectare worse return than that one in our standard system. And that's taking everything into account: the cover crop seed, Slug pellets, we always have to put slug pellets on our cover crops. We don't on our other fields. It's taking into account the drilling, and importantly, or most importantly, it's taking into account the reduced yield, because we always have a reduction in yield on crops planted after cover crops and direct drilled. And don't forget, these soils are around about 50% clay, 55% clay, and 25 or 30% silt. So 80% of what is here, what the crop is growing in, is a mixture of silt and clay, only 20% sand. Whereas on our other field, our other farm, up on the light land, up on the hilltop there, about 3 miles away, that's free draining, no drains, no dikes, and about 80% sand. Anyway, we're going to have a look in this other field now in the standard system and compare it to the one we've just looked at. This is one of our winter bird food plots in the stewardship scheme. It's all been sprayed off. It's going to be cut and worked and then planted with a new crop for the next 2 years. But you can just see these. The problem with these, they do open up and let a lot of problem weeds through. You can see the grass weeds here. They're all dead now, yes, but there's been blackgrass, there's been brome, all sorts there, and that's the only problem with these type of crops. Anyway, just going into this field now of oats is always our comparison field. Let's just go into here and get off the headland. You can see straight away no blackgrass, no blackgrass. There might be some growing in it. We haven't been in to pull it yet, it's a bit early. But there's no wild oats showing like there is in the field just next door that we're comparing to. So we'll just walk up here and get above the crop and just see what it's like. So I've walked off the headland where it's been double drilled, and here we are now looking above the crop, and you can see straight away there there's far more oats there. They're far thicker than the field just through there, that's where we've just been looking. So this surely again has to translate into extra yield, but we shall see. But again, pleased with this crop. Right on the side of the A17, I can actually spot there's one oat I can just see there somewhere. I've just spotted, where is it? I can't find it. There we go, one there. So these oats were planted around about the 25th of April, and then the blackgrass and the oats haven't really come up above the crop much yet, so they're a bit too early to pull. So the hand pullers, the rogers, will leave the farm probably in the next 3 or 4 days, and they'll come back in a couple of weeks to do all these spring crops, because we must do these as well. Just walking back to my truck, and this is one of our fields of barley, and I must say it looks superb, this does. So when you look there, look across the top, really even. This again was planted around the 23rd, 25th of April. It's grown a lot with the rain we've had over the last few last week. We had 23 millimeters of rain. But you can see barley. Those of you who aren't aware what barley is like, it's got what we call awns at the top. It's got these spindly bits there, and that is similar to the flag leaf on a wheat. We need to keep those awns clean, and you coat those with a fungicide, because it's those awns on barley that give you the yield. Like on wheat, it's the flag leaf or the last leaf that gives you the yield, but on barley it's these awns. And you can see it just looks lovely, barley does. When it's in the wind, when it's really windy and it's waving, it looks fantastic. But pleased with these. What they're going to yield, I don't know. So thanks for my Scottish friends who were texting me and ringing me when I was having a whinge about the weather and we can't get any of our spring crops planted. And we eventually, as you heard, just got it in end of April and early May. And you said that, what am I whinging for? Because you can't get your spring crops in while end of April, early May every year, and you still get decent yields, and to stop whinging. So great, thanks for that. I've just come to the other end of the field we've just seen of barley, because we've another field of barley there and we've a field of beans here. So real good point, just look at some other crops that you haven't seen for a few weeks. This is the barley you've just seen from the other end. I was parked in that gap there looking at the oats. So that field's 27 acres, that one. Then this is another field of spring barley we've got, and this field's 45 acres. That dark patch there, or that little tainted patch, is where the heap of sewage sludge was. And you'll see the leaves on that are actually quite tainted and gone brown. We'll just go and have a look at them. So here we are, and it looks actually like disease. You look there, I'll pull some of this up. Look at these leaves all gone brown compared to outside the crop, which is here, where they're still really green. So it just shows, and all that is because that soil's really rich with nutrients in there. That's all it is. I've just spotted, I've lost him now, a ladybird somewhere in here. We go. If I can move out the shadow and I just move that, can you see that ladybird there on that ear of barley? Look at that. Just picking up insects, aphids probably, and aphids are greenfly to your gardeners who are watching. Great to see this sort of thing, and it just shows we have got a lot of insects in the countryside. So I'm just walking out of that field and heading towards these beans. These were planted a little bit earlier, probably the 20th of April. And this particular field was soloed. It wasn't stubble like one or two others we've planted. But looking, see the pods now starting to form. There's one of the pods. Let's just get the light on it. There we go. And then wherever there's a flower, all these are pods starting to form at the top of the plant. So going to be a complete unknown this as to what this yields, because it was planted so late, predominantly 2 months late, and I think it's going to be late to harvest, probably the end of September possibly. But looking at these, really pleased with these. Disease kept to a minimum as well, which is great. We do want it to keep growing and keep flowering. You can see there's some more coming at the top of the, see some more white flowers there. Yeah, so I'm pleased with these. All our spring crops look really well, but just because they were late planted, they will yield lower, but how much lower I don't know. So that's it with looking at the spring crops. You can see they look quite well. I am pleased with them. Their germination has been exceptionally good, but because they were planted so late, the yield is going to be a complete unknown, so that is going to be the difficult one. But as you can see, they're quite good, so I'm quite happy with them up to now. The variety of barley that we're growing at the minute here is Laureate, so that's a malting variety. You saw in my video last week that about the nitrogen content and the quality we need to get for it to go to malting. Tom started cutting the stewardship areas. This is where one of the footpaths that I sprayed out with the Polaris a few weeks ago through there, and this is the area that Barry put the dike soil on. If you remember, we did the dike out down and took a lot off those dikes in February, and Barry's put it there. This has been sprayed off. The green bits there have been sprayed off the other day, so that's all done. And we'll just have a look at this cutter now. But the only problems with these stewardship areas is when you leave them 2 years. The first year they're really good, but the second year they seem to go thin. They all open up, and then all the grass weeds grow that you don't want, that you spend your life trying to get rid of in the fields. Through there, they all grow in these stewardship areas. You can see what that's like, how much there is there, and that's just going to block things up if we're not careful. It either wants baling, or I know in 1996 what you'd done with this, you'd have put a match to it, because that's when straw burning stopped. The Roundup's done a really good job here, killing everything off so it'd start again. There's the remnants of some thistles. All sorts of unwanted weeds here. We're doing it quite low to the ground to try and chop it all up. We've got this from Ireland's Farm Machinery near Boston. We've got 2 areas at the top of this field that's got this stewardship in, because it's an awkward shaped area. It's quiet, so it's really good for wildlife, next to a few little belter trees that were planted 20 years ago, a bit more, where we feed. So you can see we've got it straightened off, so the crop here goes through there to an angle, and then it goes off the other side there, up there that way a little bit. And we've got an area in that other corner as well towards the Brantbruton Church spire. But again, these oats looking well here. Well, that's it for an extra edition of Wardy's Waffle on a Friday, which I think might be a first, I'm not sure. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you on Sunday as normal.